Straight to our next conversation. Now, following his swearing in on Wednesday by President Bola Tinubu, the sole administrator of Rivers State, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas has arrived in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, to resume duties. Ibas was accompanied by the State Commissioner of Police, Olugbenga Dekpoju, and the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 16. He proceeded to the Government House, Port Harcourt, to have a closed-door meeting with senior security officers, federal government delegation, and state government officials. Now let's share the story with you.
You're all aware I just got in here and decided to meet with the head of service and the permanent secretaries and the service commanders. I'm going to have to meet with them to get the formal briefings from all those I met this afternoon. And then I believe it is only proper for me thereafter to have something to say to you all. And I assure you that perhaps later this evening I'll be in the right position to address you and then to address the issues that you may want to raise now.
Okay, Asuku, I'll start with you with this one. You know, Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, you know, he arrived Port Harcourt this morning. And but tell me, what do you consider as the most pressing issue, you know, facing Rivers State that the sole administrator needs to prioritize?
The sole thing, the major task before him is to secure our infrastructure.
Okay, the oil
installation. That is the first. And he has always been in Port Harcourt, you know, when he was a chief of the naval staff here, he has always been in Port Harcourt. So I believe he knows where our installations are, and he will be able to deploy, you know, security agencies, you know, operatives around this infrastructure. Who, you know, after what happened on Tuesday evening, I'm not sure anybody wants to, you know, sit idly by to allow any explosion or, you know, for people to begin to tamper with, you know, our pipelines again. The president is really, really, you know, serious about ramping up oil production. He has a target, 2.1 million, you know, oil
or more
production or more. Exactly, you know. So for now, his eyes is on that 2 million. And the only person who can help him now, because Port Harcourt is very critical for him to get that target. And so the first thing Vice Admiral will be doing, Ibok Ete Ibas will be doing, is to position men in these areas. Because I feel that as we speak presently, the Port Harcourt city is relatively calm.
Yes.
Okay. But we do not know what is happening in other areas.
Okay.
So those other areas is where he has to send his men there, let them man, you know, our oil installations. And then I want him to also see how he can, you know, involve the stakeholders, the critical stakeholders.
The elders.
The elders. We know that during this whole crisis, the elders were taking sides. Now that Fubara has been put on one side, the lawmakers have been put on the other side, and the other man, Wike, is in Abuja. This is the time for the elders to now sit down and know that they have just one state. Exactly. And one thing keeps them, which is rivers. They have to make rivers peaceful. So the only way they can make rivers peaceful is to work with this man to make sure that these brothers who have been quarreling amongst themselves, you know, sit down on one table and agree. Because if they don't agree, Vice Admiral Ibas will stay more than 6 months.
If they don't agree,
yes,
it is their own benefit.
So it is for their own benefit for the brothers to agree and solve their problem, so that Ibas will be able to go back to the work he was doing before.
Exactly.
So right now, I know he has his job cut out for him. He would have drawn all the things he wants to do. But the first thing is to make sure that everywhere is secured. and then begin to call all the leaders.
Yes.
There are so many of them. I can't even count them. I know in Rivers they have so many.
So many.
So all those who have been aggrieved, taking one side or the other, they can still come, stay in one hall,
and work with him,
then begin to, okay, yes, we are angry. Forget about that anger. Let's work for peace.
Okay.
That's all.
Your thoughts on this? What should he prioritize as a matter of urgency?
Peace.
Peace.
Every other thing will be taken care of when there is peace. Because it needs to bring them together. The good news about it, because if I had time to say the president had announced or sent his memo to the assembly and said, I want to declare state of emergency. If I had that opportunity to think who would be brought out, I would have picked him. Because so far, we have not had he's affiliated with any party.
Okay.
Apolitical. You know, some generals, once they retire, you see them and they want to go into politics. It's free of that. So it stands a good chance of achieving that peace. But it needs to now focus on the two major characters. All of these other guys playing this game around. Okay. It's like what the Yorubas will say. When you see the leaf dancing on the water, something is
you know,
drumming.
Exactly.
So it needs to understand that the two key guys, Wike and Fubara, they are the ones he needs to sit down. Because once he's able to settle them, which the president also complained about, that he called them and they failed to reconcile. Once he's able to, if he doesn't, nothing will happen in 6 months.
Nothing will happen in 6 months. All right, BKO, talk to me. Now that we have a sole administrator in Rivers State, what should he prioritize first? But Asukwon talked about the aggrieved stakeholders. How will you advise, you know, the sole administrator in handling that critical issue, the aggrieved elders, the aggrieved stakeholders in Rivers State?
Dr. and Asukwon said, his biggest task is to keep the state safe, keep innocent people safe in the state, because people are really worried that this whole thing could lead to complete conflagration, and that's not what we want to see. The state is critical to Nigeria's oil production, and even if they didn't have a drop of oil, the people deserve to live in peace. So Ibas has his work cut out for him, and I think I also like the observation made by our colleagues on the set that amongst the retired soldiers, he stands out as somebody who is apolitical. The former chief of air staff, they served together as service chiefs. Or the former chief of air staff eventually joined the APC and became a governorship candidate. The chief of army staff also effectively joined the APC and even played a role during the presidential primaries. Yeah. But Ibas is not known to have joined any party or to have openly fraternized with big politicians. Yes, some people are showing video of him with Wike. So what? In the course of his work, there's no way he wouldn't have met Wike. Yes. Because Rivers is a place, Wike was a governor when he was service chief. And they must have met at one time or another. So trying to discredit him by casting him as Wike's friend is not good at all. But he has to work for peace. And the Attorney General of the Federation has said that despite the Supreme Court judgment, the allocation of the state will be sent to him directly. Now, he has to work with the National Assembly because from the drafting, redrafting of the proclamation, the National Assembly members want him to report to the National Assembly. So, and that is what will be done. So hopefully, it will keep the state afloat. They will be able to do some infrastructure projects during his time that they will remember him for. And he's not a man of many words, a man of a few words. Okay. It's always been like that. And it can really be no nonsense in his approach. So I look forward to him helping to bring about peace. And he can do this by also interfacing with the elders in the state, bringing those elders together and reminding them that fanning the embers of discord is not what Rivers State needs at this time. They must play their role as elders to make sure that peace is achieved.
Okay.
That is what we want to see. And hopefully, Ibas will not stay beyond 6 months. Hopefully, peace will be achieved. And once peace is achieved, Fubara will return to his position. He must have learned a bitter lesson now, no doubt about it.
Exactly.
Being pushed out of the government house at the time, he didn't expect it, and having to stay with a fellow governor for some time, even before he goes to a permanent place for the next 6 months. So
all right then.
It's not what anybody wants to see. So wish them the best.
All right, a fine place for us to leave it. Thank you so much, BKO, for your analysis as always. Thank you so much. And Asoko James,
thank you for having
appreciate you as always. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for for having this conversation with us. And also big thank you to the gentlemen and ladies in the back room, pressing the buttons accordingly for us to have a beautiful show. And that's all on Journalist Hangout this week. Today, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangouts. On Sunday, we are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga Oreshegun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.